For his solo record, Ace Frehley chose to produce it himself alongside Eddie Kramer. Ace played all of the guitars, sang all of the lead vocals, and played most of the bass. Anton Fig played the drums. Production-wise, the album sounds killer. Ace and Kramer were a good team. The guitar tone is perfect, and the entire record sounds big and in your face without ever getting muddled. Written by Ace, Larry Kelly, and Sue Kelly, this is an amazing opening track. From the second it starts, you know you're in for something great. The riff is great, the lyrics are stellar with the perfect amount of attitude from Ace's vocals, and the guitar solo is incredible. Fig also deserves a shout out because he's a phenomenal drummer and he excels on this track. This song was written by Ace and Jeanette Frehley, Ace's then wife. It's another great track. I love that opening guitar lick. Lyrically, it's a lot of fun as well. Written by Ace, this song has a cool riff and a great guitar solo, but the song as a whole doesn't do much for me. It's fine, it's just not one of my favorites outside of the guitar. Written by Ace, this track features Will Lee on bass. I really love all of the guitar work on this song, but like with Snowblind, I don't really connect to it. I honestly think this song would have been better as an instrumental. Ace said, "I was also one of the first guitar players in history to use a synthesizer guitar on record. I used it in the song Ozone, which was lots of fun, and Eddie and my assistant engineer, Rob Freeman, did a great job transferring that sound to tape. The device was called the ARP Avatar and was elementary in design compared to the synthesizers available on the market today." Written by Ace, this is another great song. I love the lyrics, and the guitar solo was amazing. This is a cover. The original was written by Russ Ballard for the band The Hello People. Kramer said, "My ex-brother-in-law, who's an engineer's assistant, and I were going through tapes and we found this song one day and gave it to Ace. We worked up the arrangement on it and man, that thing became a big hit." Ace said, "The signature sound of New York Groove is that aka-aka crunch at the beginning. It almost sounds as if it's being created on a guitar using a wah-wah pedal, but it's not. It actually was produced by using a device similar to the talk box used by Joe Walsh and Jeff Beck, and, most famously, Peter Frampton on Frampton Comes Alive. It works like this. A speaker or driver is enclosed in a metal box into which a tube is inserted. Then a guitar is plugged into an amp, but the speaker output is routed through the box, and the signal is routed back from the box into the amp again. The other end of the tube goes into the musician's mouth, allowing him to sing or talk in a manner that sounds as though the words being processed by the guitar in a weirdly robotic way. It was pretty funny, but it worked, as did another of Eddie's ideas. He suggested that we add loud rhythmic clapping to the song. To get that effect, we brought in a big hollow wooden box, and then 3 or 4 of us stomped on it together as hard as we could, and Eddie recorded the whole thing. It's a great song. It's so simple but so effective. It's impossible not to sing along with it, although I do wish it had a guitar solo. Written by Ace, this song features Lee again on bass. It's a cool song with a lot of great guitar work. Written by Ace and Fig, this song also features Lee on bass. I think the verses of the song are really cool. It has a kind of Magic Carpet Ride vibe to it, but I think the chorus is really bad. It feels like it's from a different song. It sounds off to me. Wiped Out ends up being my least favorite track on the record. Written by Ace, this features Carl Tallarico on drums. The song is a terrific instrumental. It's one of the best songs Ace has ever written. The guitar parts are all fantastic, and it's a wonderful piece of music. Ace's record was the most successful of the 4 solo albums. While Gene Simmons' record did initially chart higher, Ace's has since become the highest selling. He was also the only one to earn a hit single with New York Groove, which peaked at number 13. The album peaked at number 26. I think it is the best of the 4 solo albums. It's the most consistent and just a really damn good rock and roll record. It really showcases how great a guitar player and songwriter Ace really was. It's a great record that I really like a lot. Despite leaving Kiss because he felt creatively limited, Ace Frehley would not release an album for 5 years after his departure. He formed a band in 1984 called Frehley's Comet, That consisted of himself on lead guitar and lead vocals, John Regan on bass, Anton Fig on drums, and Richie Scarlett on guitar and lead vocals. Arthur Stead would join briefly on keyboards, followed by Rob Sabino. Scarlett left the band with Todd Howarth being brought in on guitars, keyboards, and lead vocals, effectively replacing both Scarlett and Sabino. They were signed to Megaforce Records, who then got a distribution deal with Atlantic. Ace teamed with Eddie Kramer to produce, as he is Ace's favorite producer. The album was initially meant to just be called Frehley's Comet, but Atlantic felt they needed to put Ace's name on the cover, which is why it appears there, despite Ace's desire to have more of a band and less of a solo project. The album was released on July 7, 1987, meaning that the day of this video's release should be the album's 35th anniversary. The cover is pretty cool. It's space with a comet passing. I dig it. But before we get to the review proper, be sure to like and subscribe, and you can support the channel on Patreon. This is written by Ace and Chip Taylor. It's sort of an autobiographical song about a car wreck Ace was in 1983. The story the song tells is pretty cool, meant to sort of be an inspirational battle cry, and it's got a big catchy chorus that I like a lot. Musically, it's got this great drum sound from Fig, and I like the guitar. There's this lick that comes in during the verses, but is also the foundation of the chorus that I just love. It's kind of unique, and the guitar solo is solid. This is written by Ace, Eric Carr, and Scarlett. The song dates back to the music from the Elder Sessions. Ace and Eric wrote the music but could never figure out lyrics, so it didn't make it. Scarlett added the lyrics in 1984. Kiss would also use this song as Car Jam on the Revenge album, with Bruce Kulick replacing Ace's guitar parts. Scarlett originally sang the song, but Howarth naturally takes over the lead vocals here. And I like his voice a lot, some great delivery. The riff is very cool, there's a great groove to the song, chorus is solid, the guitar solo is great, and there's some terrific drumming from Fig. Good stuff. Written by Russ Ballard, this is a cover tune. Obviously hoping lightning would strike twice, as Ballard had written New York Groove. This was originally recorded and released on Ballard's self-titled 1984 album, which is honestly a pretty solid album. I like the song a lot. It's got a great chorus with solid lyrics and a cool solo. The outro is very cool as well. This is written by Howarth, who also provides lead vocals. It's about Ghost, I guess. The verses are fun, the chorus is catchy, I like the riff a lot, and the solo is pretty cool, particularly the harmonies at the end. This is written by Ace and Marty Coopersmith. The latter wrote the initial version of the song in 1983, with Ace adding to it later. There's some cool guitar stuff on it, but for the most part, I think this is pretty weak sauce. The verses are kind of boring, and the whole thing is kind of corny. We got your rock? I'm not really crazy about these lyrics. Pretty good solo, but this is filler. This is written by Ace and Ira Schickman. It's got a decent riff, and I do like the music and arrangement, particularly of the chorus, but something about the lyrics and Ace's voice throw me off. It does have a good hook though. The song has been stuck in my head for a good couple days. This was written by Ace, Howard, Kevin Russell, and Jim McClarty. It was recorded by Howard's previous band, 707, under the name Megaforce in 1982. It was also featured as the theme of the movie Megaforce. It was decided to rework it with some new lyrics, hence Ace's writing credit on the track, and it was given a new title, so it didn't seem like they wrote a song about their record label. I love this song. It's one of my favorites from Ace's solo career. I think it's got a really terrific chorus, super catchy, and a great solo. This might be my favorite song on the album. I love it. This was written by Ace. According to him, he was working on material and the power went out, so he grabbed an acoustic guitar and went to his daughter Monique's room, which I guess had dolls in it. And also according to him, there's no double meaning here. It's pretty straightforward. I hate this song. Might be my least favorite song Ace ever wrote. The lyrics are weird, and the whole thing is so corny. I just can't with this one, I can't. There was so much better material from Ace's demos, I have no idea how or why this song is on here. I think I've made this joke before, but Ace once said Kiss lost their balls without him, which is pretty confident to say when this is the stuff he was writing. This is written by Ace. I don't think the lyrics mean much of anything, but Ace delivers them with such confidence that they kinda end up working. Plus, I really like the chorus, and the solo is solid. This is written by Ace and Regan, obviously a sequel to Fractured Mirror from the '78 album. It's kind of an 80s version of that song. It is nicely melodic, and there's a lot of cool stuff to it. I like listening to it, but I don't think it's as strong as Fractured Mirror. It doesn't feel quite as big. The album peaked at number 43 with sales numbers I believe were close to 500,000 copies. It has not been certified gold to my knowledge, though Ace claims in his book that the album sold over 500,000 copies. Into the Night managed to reach number 37 on the mainstream rock charts, but that's about it. It's a pretty dang good album. I like Kramer's production a lot, particularly the drum sound. Some people resist the keyboards on it, including Ace himself. Ace puts that blame on Howarth, which I don't think is totally fair. Ace's pre-Howarth demos are pretty keyboard heavy too. I think it was just a reality of the time in which the album was recorded. It's nowhere near as strong as the '78 album with two major duds, We Got Your Rock and Dolls. But there's a lot to love. Rock Soldiers is a great anthem and one of the very few non-Kiss songs Ace still performs. Into the Night is a great cover. Breakout is fun and heavy, and I adore Calling to You. So overall, a really strong effort. Not perfect, but I like it a lot. After Frehley's Comet first album, the label rushed them fairly quickly into a second one, with Ace Frehley not having a lot of material ready. Controversially, this led to Todd Howarth picking up that slack. Interestingly, they decided not to reuse Eddie Kramer as producer. Instead, the band produced themselves, with Scott Mabuchi and a couple people from the label served as executive producers. Also gone was drummer Anton Fig, who had played on Ace's first two solo albums, but decided not to tour with Frehley's Comet, being initially replaced by Billy Ward. However, Jimmy Oldtaker takes over drumming for this album. The album, called Second Sighting, was released on May 17, 1988, less than a year after the first. It must have been an exciting time to be a Kiss fan, with Kiss releasing a project every year, and both Ace and Vinnie Vincent releasing solo albums. Nowadays, we just get really expensive meet and greets, convention appearances, and embarrassing social media posts. The cover is fine, though a little basic. Follows the theme of the first, but is a little less colorful, and ends up looking a little plain, I think. Before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe, and you can support the channel on Patreon. This is written by Ace and Gene Moore. It's sort of a tongue-in-cheek song about Ace and his personality. I like how the intro builds, and the main riff is pretty cool. I think the pre-chorus, chorus, and solo are all great. I love this song. I do instantly miss Kramer. The production sounds way smaller, and the general tone feels off. I'm curious if the Rust schedule played into that as well. It doesn't sound near as strong as the first Frehley's Comet album. This is written by Howarth. It's a song about a relationship that didn't work out, and the lyrics are pretty solid. I like the verses, and I think the chorus is pretty strong. Solid tune. Great solo, too. This is written by Ace, Dana Strum, Spencer Proffer, and Streetheart. The song is a cover, being originally done by Streetheart in 1983. Though Ace and Strum's changes, or what they add to it, are pretty minor. The song is about the dangers of drug use, particularly cocaine. The chorus is decent, and the solo is solid. It's a perfectly fine song. This is written by Howarth, previously intended for Cheap Trick, as before Frehley's Comet he was with them. I think it is a severely underrated power ballad. I love this song, and it's my favorite on the album. I love the keyboard riff. The crunchy rhythm guitar during the verses is great. The lyrics are good with a great chorus. I dig the drums, and Howarth's guitar solo is great. Amazing song. This is written by Howarth and John Regan. It's cool to hear Ace and Howarth trade off lead vocals. That's pretty neat. The chorus is solid and the solo is fine. Decent song. This is written by Ace. It's a somewhat autobiographical song, but Ace changed it slightly so that it would be a story about a young girl instead. It's got a solid riff and a decent chorus. This is written by Howarth. This song has a cool riff with some solid lyrics. I love Howarth's vocal delivery on this one. There's some nice bite to his voice. Chorus is good, and I really like the lead guitar work that comes in during the second verse. This was written by Ace and Regan. Ace originally wrote the song in 1983, but felt it didn't quite work. Regan rewrote the verses when it came time to work on Second Sighting, but kept the chorus. The riff during the verses is okay, it's decently heavy, but other than that, I think this song is really boring filler. Written by Howarth, this is a song about a dude falling in love with a ghost. Apparently, Howarth was inspired to write the song by a Clive Barker story, and knowing that now, I wish the song had more of an edge to it. It's pretty pop and upbeat. I feel like a darker tone might have been beneficial to this song because it is a really weird, interesting idea. Still, I dig the guitar work on it, and the chorus is solid. This is written by Ace and Regan. It's kind of an instrumental piece that they added a spoken word story to about a boxer. There's some solid drumming and some cool guitar stuff, but the spoken word stuff kind of ruins the song for me, and I find the whole track kind of boring. The album peaked at number 81 on the Billboard charts, and neither of the two singles, Insane and It's Over Now, managed to chart. I have trouble finding sales numbers, but I can't imagine it sold super well as it barely cracked the top 100. A lot of Ace and Kiss fans don't like the album, particularly because of how much of Howarth's material is present and the apparent lack of involvement from Ace. But to be completely honest, Howarth's stuff is why I enjoy the album. I think he's a good writer with a knack for catchy hooks, and I dig his voice. With the exception of Insane, I think Ace's material is just okay or worse. Definitely some of his weakest writing. I've seen it implied that this was due to substance abuse and laziness, but Howarth, an actual member of the band, never even suggests that as a possibility. The label wanted a record crazy fast, and Ace didn't have a lot of material. Howarth did. It's one of Ace's weaker efforts for sure, but there's some great stuff and I do enjoy it. With Kramer producing and maybe a few extra months, this could have been great, but I do dig it. Following the what I'm sure were disappointing sales of Second Sighting, it was decided by the record label that Ace Frehley should take more center stage, writing and singing most, if not all, of the material. The Frehley's Comet name was dropped entirely, Ace now completely a solo artist. Todd Howarth left with Richie Scarlett returning, taking back his original place. For the album, both Anton Fig and Eddie Kramer returned as drummer and producer respectively, with Ace and John Regan producing alongside Kramer. The album also features background vocals from Peter Criss and Skid Row, as well as Peter on some percussion. The album, called Trouble Walkin', was released on October 13th, 1989. The cover is fine. It's just a basic picture of Ace with this kind of three pictures of Ace at the bottom. I imagine it's part of the idea to really present Ace as the selling point. But before we get started with the proper review, be sure to like and subscribe, and you can support the channel on Patreon. This is written by Ace and Scarlett. It's a fantastic start to the album, immediately letting you know the kind of album you're going to get. It's nice and fast and heavy. There's some great guitar work with Ace and Scarlett trading off solos that are awesome. Having Fig back is amazing with some terrific drumming. The chorus is great and the outro is fantastic. It's a great song and Kramer's production only enhances that. Written by Jeff Lynne, this was originally recorded by The Move in 1971, but the later version recorded by Electric Light Orchestra is what made the song famous. Regan was the one who suggested the song, but Ace was somewhat hesitant to record it, particularly worried that he wouldn't be able to sing the song. I think he did a great job. His vocals are pretty strong, it is a super fun, great cover, and my favorite track on the album. This is written by Ace and Mark Ferrari. It's a fun and upbeat song. I dig it. This is written by Desmond Child, Paul Stanley, and Holly Knight. This song was originally written in 1987 for Kiss's Crazy Nights album, but it was rejected. It was then offered to other artists, with several deciding to record it. In one of the strangest moments in music history, 5 artists recorded and released the song at basically the same time: Molly Hatchet, Robin Beck, Bonnie Tyler, Ace, and Kiss. The Kiss version would be released on Hot in the Shade just 4 days after Trouble Walkin'. I love this song already, and while I prefer the Kiss version in almost every single way, Ace's cover is solid. This is written by Scarlett and Ace. This one's got some cool guitar work, and I dig the chorus. Written by Bill Ray and Phil Brown, this features Sandy Slavin on drums. I love this riff, and the solo is cool. The song has super fun verses and a great chorus. Good stuff. Written by Ace and Scarlett, this features Scarlett on lead vocals. I kind of wish Peter had been asked to sing this song. I feel like this is something he would have really nailed. The bass line is cool, the chorus is great, and the lead work from Ace and Scarlett is excellent. This is great stuff. I love this song. This was written by Ace and Regan. It's a pretty fun song. The chorus and solo are both pretty solid, and I really dig Sebastian Bach's background vocals. This was written by Carter Cathcart and Ace. It dates back to the early days of Frehley's Comet in 1984, with the band having played it live at the time. I dig the bluesy riff and style, and there's some good soloing, but for the most part, I'm a little on this one. It's okay. This is written by Regan and Ace. This is a very dynamic instrumental with a decent amount of emotional range. There's something kind of epic about it. It's really cool. I love it. The album peaked at number 102 on the Billboard charts, and the lone single, Do Ya, did not chart. Some people say Second Sighting is responsible for the lack of sales. Hard to know, but despite all the changes done to make a better album than Second Sighting, Trouble Walkin' performed worse, and Ace would not record another album for 20 years. I think it's a really good, if not great, album. It's not quite as strong as the 1978 album, but still dang good. It feels a lot more focused and driven than either of the two Frehley's Comet albums. The performances are really strong, and I think it's full of great songs. Pretty underrated album. Check it out if you haven't, and if you have, let me know what you think. Following Trouble Walkin', Ace Frehley didn't spend a lot of time recording. He toured a little bit before rejoining Kiss in 1996. That ended up taking up most of his time for the following 5 years. After his second departure, Ace was more focused on getting sober and his life together. However, Ace made his long-awaited return with 2009's Anomaly. He produced the album himself, with it being released by Bronx-born Records, Ace's own label. Ace recruited Anthony Esposito on bass and Anton Fig on drums, while handling most of the guitar work himself, as well as bass on a few tracks. The album was released on September 15th, 2009. The cover is a cool psychedelic take on the 1978 album cover, and I like it a lot. It's pretty cool. Before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe, and you can support the channel on Patreon. is written by Ace. It originated as a song called Hard For Me, which later wound up on the deluxe version of the album. Ace changed the lyrics at the last minute to Foxy and Free because he couldn't remember how much of the lyrics he had written by himself, and he didn't want to get into legal trouble with the potential co-writer. The co-writer, according to Wikipedia, is Sebastian Bach of Skid Row. The song features cool and heavy guitars with solid drumming from Fig, with a nice big drum sound. Solid solo, too. Written by Ace, David Askew, and Jesse Mendez, this features Derek Hawkins on rhythm guitar. The song was originally written by Askew and Mendez in 2000. Anomaly's associate producer Frank Munoz had been Mendez's manager and brought this song to Ace, who then rewrote it a bit. The song is in drop D with some great heavy rhythm guitar that I love. Ace also used a 7-string Ibanez for the chorus, and that chorus is really great. Solid track. This is written by Ace. It was one of the first songs recorded for the album. I dig the riff, and these first 3 tracks really groove. Some really good drumming from Fig, and the solo is solid too. Lyrically, I think it's a little weak. You're a pain in the neck. Written by Brian Connolly, Steve Priest, Andy Scott, and Mick Turner, this was produced by Marty Fredrickson and features Fredrickson on keyboards, additional bass and rhythm guitar, and Brian Tichy on drums. It is a cover of the Sweet classic. The OG is one of my favorite songs ever, and it's perfect for Ace. The verses have a fun punch to them, and the chorus is terrific. I love the guitar work on this, and the solo is great. Really good drumming as well. This is my favorite song on the album. This was written by Ace. It's an epic instrumental with a lot of tracks. I think Ace said it was something like 100 tracks that had to be mixed. It's so cool. The acoustic guitar is fantastic, the riff is cool, good drumming, I love the singing bits, and it has a great melody. Great lead playing too. Terrific song. This is written by Ace. Lyrically, it's sort of a song about identity, Ace losing himself in the makeup and character while in Kiss. These lyrics are really solid and interesting. I dig the riff and the cool drum beat that goes along with it, and the chorus is great. This is written by Ace, loosely based around the presidential election of 2008, though not overtly political. I like these lyrics. I need this kind of optimism sometimes. And I think there's a more mature Ace present on some of these lyrics, and I like that a lot. I love the chord progression, I like this chorus, the drumming's really solid, as is the bridge, and the solo's really good. Written by Ace, this is in a G tuning. The riff is cool, and there's some great lead playing, but this doesn't feel like a dynamic instrumental as much as a song without lyrics. It's okay, but a little boring. iTunes had a bonus version where they added in some quotes from the infamous Tom Snyder interview, and that version is slightly better.
Alcohol was a friend of mine. It almost got me dead.
By Ace, this features Fredrickson on keyboards, additional bass, and rhythm guitar. I think this song has a very pretty chord progression, and the sentiment really lands. It's somewhat autobiographical about Ace and getting his life together. And that stuff works for me. However, the spoken word section is awful, very cringe, and the background vocals don't work for me either. Those two elements kind of really hurt the song for me. Written by Ace and Carl Cochran, this features Scott Coogan on drums. The song dates back to the mid-90s with Ace's band at the time playing it live. It was also offered up for Psycho Circus, but rejected. The riff is cool and the chorus is solid. Coogan's a really solid drummer, and I think he does a great job here. And the solo is great. This is written by Ace. It was inspired by something Ace's dad used to tell him. I think the song has very cool guitars with a great solo. I love the lyrics and the chorus. Great song. Written by Ace, this features Fredrickson on drums. I love this acoustic guitar. The song feels upbeat, happy, and content. It's almost like a happy ending versus Fractured 3's creepier vibe. And of course, the guitar playing is excellent. Anomaly peaked at number 27 on the Billboard charts. Hard to judge how well modern releases perform, but considering it was through his own label, pretty impressive, I think. I really like this album. Like the 1978 album and Trouble Walkin', you can tell Ace is focused. There's also some really unique writing. He pushed himself and did some unexpected things. There are a couple of weak moments for me, but for the most part, this is really good. In late 2013, Ace Frehley signed with E1 Music. Under his new label, Ace has been committed to release an album every 2 years, alternating between original material and covers albums, starting with 2014's Space Invader. Ace produced the album himself, as well as handling the guitar parts, the lead vocals, and most of the bass tracks. Matt Starr was brought on for drums. The album was released on August 18th, 2014. The cover was done by Ken Kelly, who had done the covers for Destroyer and Love Gun. I think it's neat. I like the style and the colors look cool. Before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe, and you can support the channel on Patreon. This was written by Ace. It was initially intended to be an instrumental track before Ace added the lyrics somewhat last minute. While I think the chorus is kind of cool, the verses are a little weak and kind of lame. And sonically, the album immediately doesn't quite have the same punch as Anomaly, which is disappointing. There's a decent groove and some fun rhythm guitar, and I do really like the solo. I dig the tempo change there. This was written by Ace and John Ostrowski. It started as an instrumental track Ostrowski gave to Ace and was the album's first single. It's fun and upbeat with a decent chorus and some fun lead playing throughout. The material on this album feels a little less heavy or maybe more loose than the stuff on Anomaly. This is written by Ace, Jen Rubin, and Sebastian Bosco. I think this has some fun verses, a little pop but very catchy. However, the chorus does nothing for me. There's a solid solo and some fun leads throughout though. This is written by Ace and Rachel Gordon. It's got a cool riff and musically is really dynamic and interesting. Really solid lyrics with a great chorus, bridge, and solo. Easily my favorite song on the album. This is written by Ace. I'm not sure what it is, but this whole thing sounds off. I really don't like the verses. The chorus is okay, but overall, I think this is a really dull song. This was written by Ace and Gordon, the latter being Ace's fiance at the time who contributed lyrics. The chorus is okay, but overall, this song does absolutely nothing for me, and I think it's kind of corny. This is written by Ace, who apparently wrote the song on bass, which is kind of neat. Some of Ace's riffs, or his newer riffs on these newer albums, kind of start to sound the same to me and run together. This riff just sounds like Space Bear. The chorus is alright, I guess, but the verses are really dull. However, the solo is great. I love the riff that comes in during that section. Ace is having some fun with the construction of these songs. Written by Ace, this features Chris Wise on bass. The lyric "Shaken Sharpshooter" is featured in the first verse and also was the title of a song Ace submitted to Psycho Circus back in '98. That song might have been the one that became Into the Void, so this song might be unrelated and just a fun little callback to a lyrical phrase he didn't get to use back then. The riff is cool and it is a fun, catchy song. What kind of kills it for me are the lyrics. Part of the chorus is repeating "I know you want it." It's pretty common in these kind of sex songs, and in stuff like from the 70s and 80s, I can accept that it's the time, but it's 2014 and the guy singing it is an old man. It's a little yikes, and it makes the song hard to enjoy. It just kind of creeps me out. This is written by Ace and Chris Cassone. The call out to Gordon at the beginning is pretty funny in hindsight, considering the messy and weird public breakup they had. The lyrics are fun, but I do question why Ace has to be so defined by space in so much of his lyrics these days. I like the chorus, and the solo is great, as is the outro. This is written by Ace. It's fine. I don't hate it, but it does nothing for me. This was written by Eddie Curtis, Ahmad Ertegun, and Steve Miller. It is a cover of the classic by the Steve Miller Band. The track was suggested to Ace by E1. The original is a great song, and I was very excited to hear Ace's take on it, but initially disappointed. I'm not sure what it was, but it took me a couple listens to warm up to it. But I do dig it. It's fun, and that chorus is just so infectious. This is written by Ace. It's kind of fun. I really like the bits of Fractured Mirror. That's dope. But this is kind of whatever for the most part. Not my favorite Ace instrumental. Space Invader peaked at number 9 on the Billboard charts, the first album by a member of Kiss to ever get that high. I really like E1 and how they handle Ace. We get a project every couple of years, and they really promote it and put it out there. Tons of promotion, variants, fun singles, exclusives. It's always exciting. Sadly, in this case, that excitement led to disappointment. I was so bummed in 2014 when I heard this for the first time. I really didn't like it at all outside of Change, and I've listened to it a few times since, including a couple more times for this review, and my opinion hasn't changed that much. I find most of the album to be pretty boring. So much of what I loved about Anomaly just isn't here. There's nothing that I think is egregiously awful, but it's aggressively mediocre, and that's a shame. I do really love Change. That's a great song. I warmed up to The Joker, and there's some other stuff I think is cool, but for the most part, I tend to avoid this album entirely. I think it's easily Ace's worst album. As I mentioned in my review of Space Invader, Ace Frehley's contract with E1 involves an album every 2 years, alternating between original material and covers. The first of these covers albums debuted in 2016 with Origins Volume 1. Like all his recent albums, Ace produced it himself, but also included a wide range of guest stars who we'll discuss as we go through the album. Ace obviously handles rhythm and lead guitar and most of the lead vocals. Ace splits bass duties with Chris Wise. Scott Coogan handles the drums except for 3 tracks which were done by Matt Starr. The album was released on April 15th, 2016. The cover is very cool. I love the floating islands with the guitars. I think that's a really excellent design choice. Before we get started with the review proper, be sure to like and subscribe. And you can support the channel on Patreon. Written by Jack Bruce and Pete Brown, this is a Cream song off their Wheels of Fire album. Eric Clapton is a big influence on Ace, hence the cover. This is a good cover with a solid groove from Coogan and solid leads from Ace, particularly a killer solo. I also love Coogan taking over the lead vocals during the bridge sections. He's got a good voice and is a really solid drummer. If we can't have Anton Fig, I am happy with Coogan. Written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, this was from the Rolling Stones album Beggar's Banquet. This also features Starr on drums. The Stones, and Richards in particular, is a huge influence on Ace, and obviously Ace has covered the Stones before with 2000 Man. This is a great cover. Ace initially worked on it for Anomaly, but it didn't quite come together. Here, I think he nailed it. The rhythm section really stands out. Great groove with really solid rhythm guitar playing. Written by Jimi Hendrix, this is from his Axis Bold and Love album. The track features John 5 on rhythm and lead guitar. It's got some good drumming from Coogan and some really terrific solos from Ace and John 5. But to be honest, this song doesn't do a lot for me. It's probably my least favorite track on the album. Written by Andy Fraser and Paul Rogers, this is from Free's Fire and Water album. It features Paul Stanley on lead vocals and Starr on drums. Ace initially reached out to Gene Simmons to guest star on this album, but Gene never got back to him. The record label then suggested he call Paul, who was very receptive. Paul initially suggested My Generation, but Ace felt that was untouchable and countered with this song. The riff is simple but very cool, instantly. I think these are strong lyrics as well, and Ace provides an excellent solo. Paul sounds great, one of his best vocal performances in recent years, and it's just undeniably cool to have them together on a track. Written by Phil Lynott, Brian Robertson, Brian Downey, and Scott Gorham, this is from Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak album. The track features Slash on lead guitar and Warren Hurt on harmony lead guitar. Ace initially recorded his own leads by himself, leaving room for Slash to add his own stuff, but then Slash suggested that they record it live together, which paid off. The coolest thing about this cover is the two of them just tearing it up. It's great stuff. Both are really distinct players, and it's so fun to hear them play off each other. I love Thin Lizzy, and this is a fun cover with really cool guitar parts. Written by Willie Dixon, this is from Led Zeppelin's Led Zeppelin 2, and it features Scott Coogan taking over lead vocals on the verses. Jimmy Page might be the biggest influence on Ace, and it's also clear Ace probably wanted a bluesier song on the album. And I love the blues vibe of that intro, really fun. The riff is cool and Ace's leads are great. And again, I really dig Coogan's voice. It works well here. Written by Chip Taylor, this is from the Troggs' self-titled debut album. It was also very famously performed by Jimi Hendrix. It features Lita Ford on lead vocals and guitar. Funnily enough, Ford's old band, The Runaways, also used to perform this song. I don't know if that's why she's on this track specifically, or if that's just a fun coincidence. This is a really fun song. It's a great pick for Ford. Her voice works well with Ace's, and there's a great groove and solo. Written by Ace, this is from Kiss's Hotter Than Hell album. It features John 5 on lead and rhythm guitar. Part of the incentive in doing a covers album was that Ace could re-record some of the Kiss classics that he wrote, but with himself on lead vocals. And that is very cool. Having a version of this with Ace singing makes me very happy. It's very heavy, which is awesome, and I dig Coogan's drumming. I love that Ace provides his classic amazing solo, which leads into a new solo from John 5 that is just incredible. Really adds a new layer to the song in my opinion. John 5 is something else. Written by Rushton Reeve and John Kay, this is from Steppenwolf's The Second album. I think the original is such a good song, probably my favorite of the songs selected for this album. It's got a really fun riff and groove. The rhythm guitar is very loose, and I like that a lot. Ace's cover is excellent, capturing that vibe and feel perfectly. He also adds a great solo, making the song even better. Great stuff. Maybe my favorite on the album. Written by Ace, this is from Kiss's self-titled debut album. It features a solo from Mike McCready, which is very cool. Like Parasite, it's just cool to hear Ace sing it. It's a really solid version of the song.
Baby, I feel good.
Written by Ray Davies, this is from The Kinks' The Kink Controversy. I think it's a really fun cover with a great solo. Written by Gene Simmons, Bryan Adams, and Jim Vallance, this is from Kiss's Creatures of the Night album. It features Starr on drums. The record company suggested this song, and Ace decided to do it because he hadn't played on the original recording, obviously, and liked the challenge of that. I don't think it's as good as the Kiss version, but it's solid. There's a nice crunch to the rhythm guitars and solid lead playing from Ace. The album reached number 23 on the Billboard charts, which I think is fairly respectable being a covers album. Again, it's so hard to judge an album's success these days. I love this album. I think it's a terrific collection of classic rock songs. Ace is able to add his own personality to the tracks without taking anything away. It's a tricky balancing act, and Ace nails it. The guest stars are a lot of fun as well. Obviously, the highlight is Paul on Fire and Water. So cool, and I love this track. Slash and John 5 both tear it up, and it's always fun to hear Ford. This is probably my favorite Ace album of the E1 era, at least so far. I've always liked Ace's covers going all the way back to New York Groove and 2000 Man in the Kiss days. I think he's really good at it. It's a really fun album that I like to listen to a lot. Coinciding with the 40th anniversary of the Kiss solo albums, Ace Frehley released a new album, Spaceman. Ace initially wanted to call it 40 Years Later, but changed it when Gene Simmons suggested Spaceman. The suggestion happened at one of Gene's Vault events that Ace actively participated in. Previous to these engagements, Ace had asked Gene to collaborate on songs for his new album, with the pair writing 2 songs together. Interestingly, it's the first time the two have written together. They never did so while in Kiss. Ace produced the album himself, with Alex Salzman serving as co-producer. Ace provides lead vocals, all guitars, and most of the bass. The drums are split between Ace's 3 regulars at this point: Anton Fig, Scott Coogan, and Matt Starr. The album was released on October 19th, 2018. The album cover is fine. It's Ace in a silver jumpsuit, which is kind of a callback to Hotter Than Hell, so I think that's kind of cool. He's holding Black Beauty, which just sort of reminds me that he was working on a deal to make that a signature series with Gibson, but I think that fell through, which is kind of a bummer. Before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe, and you can support the channel on Patreon. Written by Ace and Gene, this features Gene on bass and Coogan on drums. The thing that's most interesting to me about this song is that Gene finally got to use Rain Keeps Falling. If you don't know, that's a demo he recorded in like the early 90s that's circulated for a while, and I'm sure it's on the vault. Gene loves to recycle, and as soon as I heard the bass line, I was like, oh my god, it's Rain Keeps Falling. He finally got to use it. The lyrics have been rewritten, and the chorus is a little different. I assume those were Ace's contributions to the song. The Rain Keeps Falling bass line is very cool, always liked that. It doesn't sound great, which I would say about the entire album. I don't know, it just sounds kind of small to me. I think the pre-chorus is solid, but the chorus itself is kind of blah. I think this would have been a little better had they just done Rain Keeps Falling. And the solo is just okay. Written by Ace, this features Starr on drums. Ace actually wrote this song back in the 70s, but didn't really like the verses or the bridge. So when he was working on material for this album, he brought the chorus back, but rewrote everything else. And I do think it's a really catchy chorus and solid bridge. Good stuff. I like the riff too, and the song has a decent groove to it. The solo is okay. Written by Ace and Gene, this features Coogan on drums and Salzman on bass. I can definitely tell this came from Gene, the chorus especially. It's very him, in that it's kind of generic and weak. It's one of those sort of catchphrases that he likes to say but turned into a song. The verses are kind of fun, and I like the acoustic guitar, but the chorus just kills it for me. Written by Ace and Ronnie Mancuso, this features Coogan on drums and Mancuso on additional guitar. Mancuso brought this song to Ace as sort of an anti-drug song, but Ace didn't like that, so he rewrote the lyrics. Riff is fun, and the chorus is pretty catchy. I dig the lyrics as well, harkens back to Hard Times. This feels classic Ace to me. The solo is just okay though, in my opinion. I'm generally disappointed with the lead playing on this album. Written by Ace, this features Fig on drums. This dates back to Psycho Circus, a song Ace submitted but was rejected from that album. Ace claims in his book that he thinks Paul Stanley ripped it off to write I Pledge Allegiance to the State of Rock and Roll. I don't really see too many similarities, but I think Paul's song is better anyway. This has a cool riff and the verses are okay, but the chorus doesn't land at all for me. While it would have been nice to have more Ace on Psycho Circus, I don't think this would have improved the album, unlike Sister. Though it is important to note that I don't know if Ace rewrote any of this, or potentially all of it. I just happen to remember that anecdote from his book. Written by Danny Chansey, Monty Byram, and Ira Walker, this features Starr on drums and Salzman on bass. It's a cover song, the original being done by Billy Satellite, but the more famous version was by Eddie Money in 1986, which is the one Ace was looking at. He was watching videos on YouTube and happened to come across Money's music video for this, and the song resonated with him. And I can understand why. These are great lyrics, very self-reflective. Obviously, I'm quite a bit younger than Ace, but I can still relate to that feeling of nostalgia and wishing time could go backwards. The chorus is also very catchy, and Ace's leads are solid. Written by Ace, Tom Koonsman, Kate DiBenedetto, and Ken Gulick, this features Coogan on drums and Mancuso on additional guitar. I really like this one. It's a cool riff and just a very punchy and fun song with a fun chorus and a solid solo. Written by Ace, this features Fig on drums. The song doesn't do anything for me. It just plods along and is kind of just there. Maybe if it was faster or had a punchier riff, but as it is, this is my least favorite song on the album. Written by Ace, this features Starr on drums and Warren Huart on a guitar. It was the last song done for the album, with Ace and Huart putting it together when they realized they needed an instrumental for the album. I really like the acoustic guitar and the leads are solid. There's great playing on this track, the best of the album. It's very dynamic and cool. I like this one a lot. Spaceman peaked at number 49 on the Billboard charts with only 1 week spent there, a step down from Space Invader and Origins. For me, the album is a mixed bag. I like it a lot more than Space Invader, but it's not as strong as Anomaly. The highlights for me are Bronx Boy, Rockin' with the Boys, I Wanna Go Back, and Mission to Mars. The most disappointing ones are the songs written with Gene. I was very excited for that collab and very let down. Other than Off My Back, I think those are the weakest songs on this album. And like I said, I also wasn't thrilled with many of the solos, which is another disappointing element here, as Ace is one of my favorite guitar players. But the album overall is solid. Not perfect, but enjoyable. And I'll take it over nothing. For the second Origins, Ace produced the album himself, with Alex Salzman serving as a co-producer. Origins Volume 2 was released on September 18th, 2020. This track features Ace on vocals and guitar, Jeremy Asbrook on guitar, Salzman on bass, Matt Starr on drums, and Laura Cove on background vocals. The original was a Led Zeppelin song. It's actually the first song on Zeppelin's first album, so it's cool that it starts this album. The thing that is always great about Ace's covers is that they are faithful to the originals, but he still manages to put his personality into it. Starr is a particular highlight on this track with some killer drumming, and Ace's recreation of Jimmy Page's lead work is great. This track features Ace on vocals and guitar, Salzman on bass, and Starr on drums. The original was by Mountain. It's a smart song to cover. The riff is very similar to certain Kiss songs such as Watchin' You and She. I'm honestly not crazy about this song. It's fine. This track features Ace on vocals, guitar, and bass, Rob Sabino on organ, and Starr on drums. The original was by Deep Purple, and the highlight of that was Ian Pace's drumming. So it's a bummer that the cool little mini drum solo in the original is replaced by an organ solo, especially with a drummer as talented as Starr. It's an okay song. I don't love it. This features Ace on vocals and guitar, John 5 on guitar, Salzman on bass, and Starr on drums. The original was by The Beatles. This is the first track on the record that I really love. It has so much energy and is a lot of fun. The leads by John 5 and Ace kick ass. This features Ace on guitar, bass, and vocals, Lita Ford on vocals, and Starr on drums. The original was by the Rolling Stones. Easily one of my favorite Stones songs, and probably the first one I ever heard by them. Covering the Stones is difficult because Mick Jagger has such a unique voice and presence that's impossible to replicate. But Ford doesn't try to replicate. She gives it her own flavor with a nice growl in her singing. It's a really good cover. This features Ace on vocals and guitar, John 5 on guitar, Salzman on bass, and Starr on drums. The original was by Cream. This song does nothing for me. I think it's kind of boring. John 5 does some really cool stuff on guitar though. This features Ace on vocals and guitar, Salesman on bass, Starr on drums, and Cove on background vocals. The original was by the Kinks. The song is really catchy and infectious, and I love Ace's cover of it. Ace and Cove's voices go really well together. This features Ace on guitar, Robin Zander on vocals, Salesman on bass, and Starr on drums. I'm a big Cheap Trick fan, so this collab was a dream come true. It's really cool to see Ace record with peers from the time, like Ford and Zander, the latter of which kicks ass on this song. It's a super fun cover with a great solo and killer drumming from Starr. This features Ace on vocals and guitar, Bruce Kulick on guitar, Salesman on bass, and Starr on drums. The original was by Jimi Hendrix. For most Kiss fans, this is worth the price of admission alone. The idea of Ace and Bruce trading leads on a Hendrix cover is the coolest thing ever, and Bruce's solo is outstanding. The song doesn't do much for me outside of Bruce's presence, but who cares? This features Ace on vocals and guitar, Salesman on bass, and Starr on drums. The original was by Paul Revere and the Raiders. I love this riff. It's a super fun and energetic cover. This features Ace on vocals, guitar, and bass, and Starr on drums. The original was by The Animals. It's a cool riff that suits Ace and a fun song with a great solo. This track features Ace on guitar, Ryan Spencer Cook on guitar and vocals, Asbrock on guitar and vocals, Philip Seuss on bass, guitar, and vocals, and Paul Simmons on drums. This is my least favorite song on the album. It's just so disappointing. I loved Ace's versions of Cold Gin and Parasite on the first Origins. I hoped if he did more Kiss songs, it would be something like Strange Ways, stuff he wrote but didn't sing. Ace doesn't even sing on this. It's a showcase for the band he currently tours with, but I'm not here for them. I saw them when they were the Gene Simmons Band, and they're talented guys, but I have zero interest in their take on classic Kiss that they add very little to. I'm here for Ace's take on classic rock songs. Also, this is the song where I think the production and mix fail. The album's sound is mostly fine with a solid drum sound and good guitar tone, but the bass is low and way too damn low on this song. She has a really cool bass part, and it's barely audible. Origins Volume 2 only spent 1 week on the Billboard charts, peaking at number 81. I don't like Volume 2 as much as the first Origins. For me, the song choices on the first were much more interesting, and it's hard to beat the excitement that Paul Stanley's guest star appearance provided. For me, this is a solid album with some really cool covers, but some of the selected songs don't connect with me in their original incarnations, and Ace's updates don't really change that. But it's worth it for the solid tracks and the great collaborations. Ace Frehley has a new album out, so we should probably talk about it. This new album is called 10,000 Volts. It was produced by Frehley and Steve Brown. Brown is a founding member and lead guitarist of the hair metal band Trickster, who you might know from their hit, Give It To Me Good. He and Ace met through some mutual contacts and started working together. The album has quickly become slightly controversial and a tad divisive due to the thinly veiled reality that Brown is a major driving force of the album. He fully admits that most of the ideas and songs started with him. Frehley and Brown have been hyping up this record like you would not believe, mainly saying that this is Frehley's best album since his 1978 solo album. Brown has criticized Frehley's other solo albums for containing a lot of filler and mediocrity. His goal with this album was to make sure every single song was great. Brown has taken this a step further by saying he thinks this is the best Kiss-related album since the 1992 Kiss album, Revenge. In regards to personnel, the guitars are by Frehley and Brown. All lead vocals are Frehley with Brown on background vocals. Brown also plays bass on a decent chunk of the record, in addition to keyboards, percussion, and drums on the final track. DJ Farley and Joey Casada were brought on by Brown to play some bass and drums respectively, though Anton Fig does play drums on 3 tracks. And there are a few other people as well, here and there. Before we get into it, be sure to like and subscribe, and you can support the channel on Patreon. This opening track was written by Brown, David Julian, and Frehley. Julian messaged Brown on Instagram wanting to work together, and they started sharing some ideas. The goal of this song was to evoke certain Kiss songs such as Shock Me and Firehouse. The song has some really fun riffs. I like the guitars a lot. The pre-chorus is great, really catchy and infectious. And the chorus itself is an earworm that you're gonna struggle to get rid of. Fun song. Written by Brown and Frehley, this was the first thing Brown sent to Frehley. It's got a cool opening riff, and I love the layering of acoustic guitars. That's one of my favorite production tricks Frehley's used in the past. Other than that, this doesn't do much for me. Brown proudly admits wanting to lean into pop sensibilities and loving the Dynasty Unmasked era of Frehley, which I do too, but I don't know, this is kind of just boring in my opinion. This is written by Brown, Julian, and Frehley. It's got a cool riff, but other than that, I think this is kind of just a generic hair metal track. I can definitely tell that the guy from Trickster wrote some of this material. This is written by Frehley and Brown. I think the verses of this are quite bad, really boring and lame, and I don't think the vocals are very good either. There's been a lot of talk of auto-tune, and yeah, I'm sure it was used, but that is just industry standard these days and has been for a while. I just think this song could have benefited from having a different singer. You know, Todd Howarth was a big help in the 80s for these kind of poppier songs. However, I will say this chorus is super catchy. It will stay in your head for quite a long time after listening. Really solid hook. Written by Arthur Stead and Frehley, this is a demo from the Frehley's Comet days. It's one of my favorite demos of Frehley's. It's been on YouTube forever, and I've always wanted him to record it. It's such an infectious and sweet song. It really is a window into what a talented writer Frehley was at the time. I don't like the solo, and I wish he had recorded it earlier in his career, but screw it, I'll take it. I'm just happy he finally did it, because this is a fantastic song. Written by Frehley and Brown, this was the second song they worked on. My immediate thought when I listened to this for the first time was, thank God something up-tempo. This is great. A fantastic modern Ace song. Not in that it feels like trend chasing or anything like that, just that it sounds contemporary and tough. Best song of the album. So good.
'Cause we're blinded by
This is written by Frehley and Brown. This song, along with Fightin' for Life, is a nice change of pace lyrically. The first few songs are all a variation of You Rock Girl. This song is about the dangers of modern technology. I like having this other kind of subject matter. There's really only so much I can take of a 72-year-old talking about how much he likes women. These are really solid lyrics, and the chorus is really fun. This is written by Frehley and Brown. True to its title, this is cute. It's a really sweet and fun song. It has a really solid pre-chorus and chorus. Written by Nadia Ferris and Matthew Wilder, this is a cover song. The original was recorded by Nadia in 2002 and was featured in the 2002 Jason Statham movie The Transporter. Frehley never forgot the song and presented it to Brown. Brown was hesitant to include a cover track, but it's a Frehley staple and often the highlight of his albums. Once taken on, Brown wanted it to be Frehley's Stairway to Heaven with a huge production. And I will say, I think he did a damn good job. This is really cool. Kind of a different song for Frehley, but in the best way. It's kind of epic and tells a story. I love it. This was written by Frehley and Brown. It's got some fun riffs and a decent groove. The lyrics are interesting and kind of fun. At first, I assumed it was about if aliens existed or not, but then the second verse hit and I realized it's about God? The verses are about the wonders of the earth and the universe and Frehley marveling at it. Maybe the song is simply about things being beyond our understanding, whether that's heaven or the universe. Written by Brown and Frehley, this is the album's instrumental track. As every Ace Frehley album must have a cover, it must also have an instrumental. This is pretty cool, nice and atmospheric. I like it. Overall, I think this is a pretty solid album. The second half I like quite a bit more than the first half. Those first few songs, while they have some catchy hooks, feel like Frehley's Comet rejects. One of them is literally that, even though I love Back Into My Arms. But that second half is so good. A decent amount of variety both lyrically and musically. More interesting and feels to me like Frehley going forward. But does it live up to the hype? Well, the problem with hyping something up to the level that they have here is that you create impossible standards and you have no one but yourself to blame. Many Kiss fans, myself included, love Frehley's 78 record. It's one of my absolute favorite rock records. This album was never going to live up to that. And saying that not only is this Frehley's best work in 45 years, but also the best work of any Kiss-related project in 30 years? With those claims, the album better blow me away. And it didn't. Frankly, there are a lot of Kiss-related albums post-Revenge that I think are better than this. Like, I think Paul Stanley's original songs on the Soul Station album are better than most, or maybe even all of the songs on this. It's all subjective, of course, and if Brown genuinely feels that this is the best thing since sliced bread, fair enough. I'm glad he's so passionate about it and ambitious as a producer. But I think the way they've tried to hype this record has been kind of a turnoff. As far as Frehley's albums go, I think this is a stronger effort than Space Invader or Spaceman, though I think Spaceman had stronger singles than 10,000 Volts. It's a solid album, and honestly, it's just nice to have new songs from a member of Kiss.